Hello and welcome to another retrospective video of an iconic adventure game franchise. Today's topic is Phantasmagoria, a horror point-and-click adventure game series that relied heavily on full motion video. It is another brainchild of Roberta Williams, one of the two founders of Sierra Online, and there are two games in the series released in the mid-90s. The series took its title from the Greek word phantasmagoria, which roughly translates to spectacle or something truly magnificent to watch or witness. However, in the case of this franchise, the title was used mostly for the first part of the word, phantasm, which refers to the Greek word for ghost or spirit, as this was the theme for both games. The first Phantasmagoria game especially was a massive success, grossing over $12 million upon its release, but also spawning a backlash due to its themes and tones and a particular rape scene that we will discuss later on. Phantasmagoria is a point-and-click adventure horror video game designed by Roberta Williams for MS-DOS and Microsoft Windows and released by Sierra in 1995. The plot follows Adrienne Delaney, a writer who has just moved into an old mansion with her photographer husband Donald and their cat Spaz. The house, located off the coast of a small New England island, was originally the house of the famous 19th century magician Zoltan Karlovac, who lived there with his 5 wives who had all died mysteriously. Shortly after moving in, Adrienne begins to experience horrifying nightmares and have odd encounters inside the creepy old mansion. The house also has a severe impact on her husband Donald, changing him into a violent and evil person. Adrienne must discover the secret of the house and unravel the terrible events that have happened in the past. The game plays like a typical point-and-click adventure game, but with live action and cinematic footage on 3-dimensional rendered environments. The user interface is a screen surrounded by a stone border with buttons and 8 inventory slots along the bottom. The player controls the protagonist, who is always on the screen and can click certain areas of the screen to control her movement or make her explore specific places and objects. The game includes only 4 mouse commands: look, which changes to talk to when selecting a person, pick up item, use item, and walk. Objects in the game can be picked up by clicking on them or interacting with them in a film sequence, after which the item automatically goes into the inventory. Adrienne can hold 8 items at once, and each blank slot can contain an image of an item that the user can click on to retrieve or use within the game. On the left side of the interface is a red skull button which the user can click to receive hints, while on the right side is a red button with a picture of a closed eye which displays any inventory item that the user drags to the button. The development of the first Phantasmagoria game was a lengthy one with multiple delays and changes along the way. Roberta Williams, who up until that point was mainly associated with children-friendly games and stories like the King's Quest series, wanted to make a game that was more adult-oriented and emotionally deep. She had previously tried writing mystery games with the Laura Bow mystery series, but in Phantasmagoria she wanted to approach the story with a horror tone. Roberta Williams had the original concept of Phantasmagoria in her mind for years, but had to wait for the technology to progress in order to support faster CD-ROMs and high-quality full-motion video. She has cited the works of Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe as the inspirations behind Phantasmagoria. In preparation for writing it, Williams spent 6 months watching horror films and reading horror novels. Phantasmagoria was the first Sierra Online game script to be written like a film screenplay. The script numbered roughly 550 pages when completed, about 4 times the size of an average Hollywood screenplay, and also included another 100 pages of storyboards representing a total of 800 scenes. Ken Williams, Roberta's husband and co-founder of Sierra Online, was concerned over the game's violence and the extreme production costs. The game's original budget was $800,000, but ended up costing almost 5 times more. 25 professional actors were cast in Phantasmagoria, while filming took over 4 months. When it was done, there was roughly 160 hours of footage that had to be edited and compressed for the final game. All filming was done entirely in front of a blue screen, and the digitized information was later loaded into Silicon Graphics computers, which synchronized the motion and backgrounds. Andy Hoyos, a horror film aficionado, was the art director for Phantasmagoria, and Peter Maris was the director responsible for the live-action filming. Both the in-game art and filming were supervised by Roberta Williams. Most of the music is a mixture of real instruments with synthesized and sampled sounds that were recorded live, contrary to Sierra's previous titles where the music was created on computers. A 135 voice choir was even used for the opening theme. The huge production scale of Phantasmagoria led to the game's increased development time that took more than 2 years. There were multiple delays with the game pushed back year after year. Roberta Williams said, "It took a full year just to get people to understand what I wanted to do." The game was finally released on August of 1995 in 7 CD-ROMs, something that also caused its retail price to be significantly higher than most games of the time. Still though, it grossed $12 million and sold 300,000 units during the first weekend of release, making it Sierra's best-selling computer game to date. The game received mixed reviews, with reviewers praising the graphics and music, but criticizing for its characters and weak puzzles. The levels of violence also caused significant controversy, and several retailers refused to stock the game, and it was banned in certain countries. A rape scene was among the main reasons for that criticism. Multiple parents groups, religious organizations, and special interest groups called for a boycott and sent letters to Sierra offices voicing objections to the game. Roberta Williams said she knew the rape scene would be controversial, but she felt it was essential to the plot because it was a turning point for the protagonist. Due to the game's high level of violence, there was a password system that allowed for censorship of particular scenes. When activated, the screen would blur when showing scenes containing blood and gore. Bad press is still press though, contributing even more to the hype of the game. The commercial success of Phantasmagoria had a positive financial impact on Sierra Online. It was only logical that there would be a sequel. Phantasmagoria, A Puzzle of Flesh, or Phantasmagoria 2, is an interactive movie point-and-click adventure game released by Sierra Online in 1996 for the MS-DOS and Microsoft Windows. Although the game shares the same name with the first Phantasmagoria, the plot does not follow the events of the previous one. The game's story revolves around Curtis Craig, a man plagued with his own demons and nightmares. His father was involved in an illegal top-secret experiment for a company called Wintech Industries. No information was ever released regarding the nature of the experiments, but they drove Curtis' mother insane, leading to her suicide. Shortly afterwards, his father is shot, leaving Curtis a disturbed orphan with serious behavioral disturbances. He ends up in a mental institution, and when released, he is employed by the same company his father worked for. His manager, Paul Warner, tries to find the cause of Curtis' psychotic episodes and the mysterious murders that break out all around him. As the game progresses, more information on the Craig family unfolds, along with what truly happened to Curtis' father. A Puzzle of Flesh gameplay features a standard point-and-click interface played from a third-person perspective. The player controls Curtis as he travels to various locations, collects items to solve puzzles, and interacts with other people. The cursor will flash when passing over items or areas of interest. Inventory is stored along the bottom of the screen, and a simple click and drag command will cause inventory items to interact with other objects. Roberta Williams, who was the original creator of the first Phantasmagoria game, was not directly involved in the development of A Puzzle of Flesh. Lorelei Shannon, who had collaborated with her in the Dagger of Amun-Ra, a Laura Bow mystery, and King's Quest VII, was selected to helm the project. While the first game had a supernatural horror theme, A Puzzle of Flesh utilized a psychological horror approach. The script was 200 pages long and had to be trimmed down due to budget constraints. Contrary to the blue screen technique of the first game, Phantasmagoria 2 was filmed on location around the Seattle area of Washington. Andy Hoyos returned for the sequel as he was the art director of A Puzzle of Flesh. The overall budget of the game was similar to the first Phantasmagoria, mainly due to the extensive shooting on location and the use of expensive state-of-the-art for the time equipment. The game was released in 1996 and was heavily censored in some countries like Australia or banned like the case of Singapore. The game was met with negative reviews focusing on the irrational puzzles, heavy use of full motion video and weak gameplay. Praise was given to the game's musical score. Phantasmagoria 2 was a commercial failure which, along with its high budget and the declining popularity of the adventure games, caused any plans for a third installment of the series to be dropped. That was a full history of the Phantasmagoria series, a franchise developed to appeal to adult audiences as the adventure game genre and especially the puzzle adventures were evolving during the mid-90s towards targeting mature gamers. The first game was a massive success, but the second installment was a big commercial failure that sealed the fate of the franchise. Do not forget to watch my many retrospectives on iconic franchises like Loom, King's Quest, Space Quest, Gabriel Knight and more. You can also find my 2-hour documentary on the rise and fall of the genre. If you like the content of my channel, please consider supporting it by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it to know when a new video is up. You can also consider supporting me by becoming a member of my YouTube channel. There is one membership tier and you will have a lot of benefits like exclusive updates on upcoming videos, you get to watch each new video earlier, you get to decide the topic of upcoming videos and also member exclusive giveaways that will follow. We will have the next adventure game video soon. Thank you all for watching.